My name is Sabine Quenberg, also known as the Storytelling Dame from Germany. And today, my topic is intuition. But before we go there and maybe discuss that in a little bit more detail, I want to begin with a story from my book, GUMPTION. So, here it goes. It was a beautiful summer evening in Hamburg, Germany. The little 9-year-old girl skipped her way to the nearby playground, her mother's voice still echoing in her ears. Be home by 7. When she arrived, the gate was locked. A sign read, open from 8 to 6 p.m. She still had about 45 minutes before she had to be home. So she wandered down the gravel path, settled onto a park bench nearby. German summers stretch long into the evening, the sun casting a gold glow between the trees. She delighted in the hush of nature, listening to the chorus of evening birds and watching squirrels dart and chase each other through the branches. She was minding her own business when an older man sat down beside her and struck up a conversation. At first, it was a pleasant enough chat until he leaned in closer and said something that made her uneasy. Do you see this man down there? He is a child snatcher. Let's get away from him. Oh, that sounds like a good idea. And the girl was relieved this man was helping her. Together, they started walking away from the suspicious figure. To her young mind, it felt almost like a game. We are outwitting the bad guy, she thought to herself. In the middle of the park stood a hill. She loved to sled down in the winter. As they made their way around it, shrubs and trees closed in. When they reached the back of the little mountain, the man offered a clever idea. Let's take a shortcut through the woods, up the hills. Great idea, she thought. And they began to climb. But then everything changed. Without warning, the man stopped walking and dropped to his knees. The girl froze. She looked at him, wondering what was going on. Does he need to rest? His hand patted the ground, a silent command for her to lie down. And that's when something remarkable happened. For the first time, she heard an inner voice scream, "Run! Run! Run!" It all happened in a split second. She didn't stop to think. She ran. She crashed through the bushes, legs bumping, the uphill climb not even slowing her down. At the top, she didn't pause, but kept running. She hurled herself down the hill, the same hill she usually reserved for fun, sledding, and laughter. Teenagers hanging out on the side shouted after her, but she didn't care. She wasn't afraid of them. She just had to run far, far away from that man she thought was a friend, but who had revealed himself to be a foe. Finally, she reached the street and stopped running. Her mind felt numb, and then she began to blame herself. What have I done? I did exactly what my parents warned me never to do. I went with a stranger, but he wasn't like a stranger. He was kind, a nice older man, someone who was supposed to protect me. What did I miss? I thought I did everything right. Was it a mistake? At first look, you would say yes. However, mistakes are there to reach us, to guide us, and sometimes even to get our attention. On Mother Earth, we live out three-dimensional lives. However, I have discovered that there is a fourth dimension, and that is not visible to us. It is an invisible hand that guides us. In most cases, something terrible must occur for us to be open to listening. Illness, an accident, the sudden loss of a loved one, or one of our darkest moments can often be a catalyst for us to make changes. For the girl, it was that moment in which she felt the presence of her guardian angel. She didn't realize it then. She was in shock. Only years later, she learned the magnitude of that experience and how it was the beginning for her to hear and feel higher power, guiding her life, but most importantly, giving her the strength and ability to guide others. That evening, when the little girl arrived home, she didn't tell her parents about what happened. She felt so ashamed and guilty. The only one she could turn to was God. Her family was not churchgoers. What she learned about God was in school. Back in the day, religion was a class subject. However, instinctively, she knew she could pray to that God. She felt safe and protected. She didn't know any prayer, but being a creative person, she made up a poem. Lieber Gott, ich gehe zur Ruhe und mache meine Augen zu. Beschütze mich aus aller Not und gebe mir mein täglich Brot. Translation: Dear God, as I lie my head to rest and close my eyes, protect me from all evil and give me my daily bread. This prayer helped her to get through her traumatic experience of almost being raped and perhaps even killed. But her journey was far from over. The universe had more in store for her. More about that later. We all have an inner guidance system. Call it intuition. That feeling that nudges you to do something or to follow a calling. We all have it. And most of us have experienced it at one point or another. You may have even wondered, what is it? And why it happens? I believe life is happening for us, not to us. When we are born, we're rarely we rely. Let me try that again. When we are born, we rely completely on others for survival. The first contact is our mother, who feeds us and gives us the love and protection we need. As we grow and learn independence, we begin exploring. The older we get, the more our self-awareness kicks in. And we start making decisions that guide us along our chosen path. However, as I've discovered, we are never left on our own. We always receive help from, I call invisible hands. You may call them guardians, angels, God, a higher power, or any name that resonates with you. Perhaps our own belief or faith, tradition, has shaped the way you understand this guidance, and that is more than enough. In these pages, I want to share my experience with my guardian angels who have guided me throughout my life. and the lessons I have learned that might offer you inspiration and direction on your own journey. Looking back, the dots given has given me a bird's eye view, allowing me to help others grow in awareness, trust their intuition, and thus move forward with fewer distractions and less pain. Even now, as I write these words, I marvel at how they flow through me. Yet I'm not surprised, for I have learned to simply let it happen. You may have guessed it. That little girl was me. I believe that incident became a defining moment in my life. Of course, I didn't recognize it at that time or even in the years that followed. Only when I stepped into my official coaching and mentoring life did I begin to see its true significance. I wanted to share this with you because I believe we all have had those kind of experiences. And it could have been a very, very impactful moment in your life, like it was for me. And sometimes we don't even realize it. But I invite you to just think back on a time in your life that something happened and you had that gut feeling, right? That perhaps helped you move forward in a different direction. And sometimes we may even not realize or recognize it at that time. But if you think back at it, you might think, oh yeah, I had a guardian angel there. And this is what intuition is about. But we don't have to be necessarily in a dangerous situation or in a dark moment to listen to that intuition or get that intuition. Even in a day-to-day living environment, we get that intuition. No, don't take this road right now. Let's take the other one. And because of that, you met a person that you were supposed to meet, maybe a contact that were able to introduce you to someone who could help you in your business. Or perhaps you have that gut-wrenching feeling inside of you that you cannot stay in the profession you're in right now. Something is calling you to change. Something is calling you to pursue your passion. Something is calling you to improve and expand your skills, your talent, or follow your talent, expanding your skills to make that talent even more important, prevalent to your life and to other people's lives. You're able to serve other people in that way. I would love to hear what happened to you. Perhaps you had an experience in your life that was very impactful. So don't be shy to change, to comment. The interesting fact is, when we are children, we are more inclined to be open to that intuition, to listen, to just experience, to be playful. Oftentimes, when we are adults, we stop listening. Yes, children are naturally intuitive. Then life, logic, other people's opinions, and fear of being wrong, that was trained out of us, that intuition, that fun, and that just joy for life and the creativity. So sometimes when I get into a situation that I have to stop and think, maybe I feel stuck. I have to take time to step back. And it can come in many different ways. Sometimes I go out for a walk. But sometimes the universe directs us, I would say, more oftentimes than sometimes. And that's my personal belief. But let me share something with you that just happened a short while ago. I was very busy and engaged in my business, and there were a lot of, balls in the air. And I had a very difficult time to keep up with everything. And a lot of great opportunities and many different things happened that let me forget something, let things slip through the cracks, and maybe not paying attention to all the things I should have paid attention to. That led me into a situation that I was supposed to attend an event, but for one reason or another, I don't want to go into all the details, it didn't happen. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't upset about it. I was just, okay, let me just see what happened, and just waiting, right? So here is what happened the other day. Once I realized, okay, this event is not going to happen, I just had to step back and take time. And what I did is I went into meditation. That is my go-to number one tool that I'm using. And that particular morning, I am part of the Mind Valley community, and I love those different meditations that they offer. And there's always a daily suggestion. And there it was, how to remove blocks. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I've done that before, but it was a time ago. So I did it again with a new eye, a new opinion, or a new, just fresh view. And I was able to look again to some of the blocks and just take a look and say, okay, I'm open now. That doesn't bother me anymore. I'm letting go of it. That was in the past. And here I am. And you cannot make this stuff up. The next thing I did, I opened up my emails, even though you shouldn't open up the email first thing in the morning because you are on other people's agendas. But I followed my intuition and I did. And there was an email. And there was even a reminder, or I'm bringing this back up to your inbox. And there was an offer, an invitation saying, yes, your assistant sent me your information, and we are looking for a keynote speaker for our next event. And so she went all into the details, and I thought, wow, that would be a great opportunity. So I replied back, yes, let's have a conversation. And that same day, we had that conversation. And let me tell you, it was a beautiful, beautiful offer with great future potentials. And this is what I am focusing on currently, to go out and speak on more stages, be a keynote speaker, share all that experience, not just the life experience, but also my professional experience from being an actress, director, a studio owner, agent, talent scout, communication confidence coach, author, writer. I mean, so many skills that I acquired throughout the years that I know it's time for me to share it on a bigger scale. So this is my agenda for this year. Now, let's go back to the intuition and to things happening for a reason. Your invisible hands, your angels, whatever you want to believe. I just believe that there are invisible hands, that there is higher power that is directing us. And if we are more listening to that inner voice, that intuition, and believe me, it helped me many more times. And I share many more stories in my book as well, to lead me to that new opportunity and what I've learned from it. So when we listen to that, I invite you to give it a try if you haven't done it yet, or just give it a shot. You know what they say. If any one of you are Star Wars fans here, no, you would always say, do not try, do. So do. And just stepping back and be open to the fact that there is something out there in the universe that can guide us. And if we are open to that, if we allow that to happen, then maybe wonderful things come your way. You may say, and I experienced it too, and I openly shared that as well, that you thought, ooh, this is a great opportunity. I'm going to go for it. Yes, this is wonderful. Well, I've done this before, or this could make me a lot of money. And you give it a try. And this time, I mean it. Give it a try, because I did. But there was one thing I forgot. When I'm in these kind of situations, I didn't follow my intuition, and I didn't follow my calling, my talent, what I love to do. And I was following a different activator, or a different inspiration, or what's the word that I'm looking for? Motivator. Here we go. I followed a different motivator, and that motivator was money. And money is a good motivator, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against money. But for me, money was always a positive side effect. When I changed careers to becoming an actress, everybody says, oh, that's a starving profession, Sabina, don't do this. And I didn't do it for the money because I wanted to do it. However, the money followed. Through a TV series that we filmed for 6 weeks, I got paid more in these 6 weeks than I did the entire year that I was a claim adjuster and was paid for. So the money will follow. When I opened my school, a performing arts school in the US, in Virginia, I didn't do it to become rich. Well, let me put it this way. I never really became rich through the school. However, other circumstances and other things that are connected with that helped me become wealthy. And that's another indicator. I just wanted to teach what I love, and I just wanted to get a good paycheck to pay my bills and have a good life. And it happened. But so many other wonderful, positive things came along with that to create that wealthy life. And it's not just money. When I talk about wealth, yeah, there's financial wealth, but there's also spiritual wealth. There is the wealth, your physical wealth, friendship, love, so many things. And this is truly a wealthy life if you have and feel good in all areas of this of your life. So money is a good side effect when you do what you love and you work for it. It's not just, oh, I'm very talented in this. I could have said, I'm a talented actress or actor. My teachers told me so. And then I just said back, okay, when do I get my first movie role? This is not how it happens. And this is actually how I wrote my first book, Secrets on How to Succeed in Showbiz, because I realize some people are successful, some not. They're equally talented. What's the difference? It's your mindset, your attitude, how you set your goals, how you pursue it, and how you learn your skills and improve on a continuous basis. So all of these play a role, but following your intuition and sometimes just relaxing, stepping back, meditating, go for a walk and ask the question. Okay, hey, to whom you ask, I don't care. To the world, to the air, to the sun, to the void. And just ask and say, hey, what is mine to do? What can I do right now? And so that might be a good start. And you not necessarily get the answers in that, or the answer in that very moment. Maybe you do. Sometimes it happens, but more than often it comes a day later. Like just the example I gave with you, that was a day later. With the story I shared at the beginning, I was instantly, because that I needed to run instantly to keep my life. And sometimes it could be weeks or even months later. But just be open. Once you change that attitude, everything will change. So I would love to hear from you. And if you have not yet subscribed, follow, please do so. And if this episode inspired you to do something, to listen more, or just were inspired, and you may think, oh, this could help someone else, please share it. I appreciate it. Because, YouTube and all the other social media channels are heavily alive. The algorithm are relying on how impactful is it? Do people enjoy it? So if you do, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here today and spending this time with me. As always, follow your heart. Serve from the heart. Pursue your passion. And then you can live the life you imagine. Until the next time. Until the next time, always remember, the work we do on our invisible stage, the moments no one sees, will determine the moments everyone remembers. And that are those moments when you are on the visible stage, in front of people, in front of your audience, in front of your family, in front of your coworkers, no matter the stage. And it doesn't have to be a physical stage. When I talk about the visible stage, these are the moments that everyone sees. These are the moments you show up as you, your full potential, as who you are. So show up as your best self.